Hi, and welcome to this edition of the Insurance Experts. It's my pleasure to have Faresh Fatahi on the line. She's a LinkedIn expert, but in particular, she does business development for financial advisors and high net worth life insurance producers. So I'm really excited to have her on the call today. Thanks, Faresh, for joining us.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your background, how you got in the financial services business, and where you are today with your career.
Absolutely. So, since 2009, I've been off and on in the life insurance and financial planning industry. Worked for an iconic insurance producer, and I worked with several other advisors along the way. And I really enjoy connecting people with their advisors and figuring out how to relate stories and thought leadership for better outcomes.
Awesome. And that's a perfect topic because, of course, that's what we do on the Insurance Experts. We try to share stories and thought leadership. So tell us a little bit more about how people out there, advisors or insurance agents, can help do this on LinkedIn.
Well, LinkedIn's a really powerful platform. I think that there's a lot of people that are missing out on it. It almost acts as a secondary website. It's very SEO friendly, meaning if somebody goes and types your name into Google, that's going to be one of the top 5 things that pops up as your LinkedIn profile. So it's really important to have one, number one, and number two, to have one that looks nice, professional, talks about who you are, what you do, and how you can help the people that you're connecting with.
Right. And it seems like the first time people meet you, what they do is they'll kind of like virtually stalk you a little bit. They'll look you up on Google. And so having a really good LinkedIn profile kind of presents a really nice face to them the first time you meet them.
Absolutely, especially if you've got a good profile photo on there, and you tell people a little bit about what you do and your story, your background. It's going to be a lot easier for people to want to connect with you and stay in touch.
Okay. Let's talk about it in terms of like the virtual business card exchange. When you meet somebody, how would you recommend that the advisor uses LinkedIn with their clients or prospects?
Absolutely, I think that LinkedIn can be powerful for your lead engagement process. For example, I travel quite a bit. I meet a lot of people on airplanes, and we all will exchange business cards, but who keeps business cards anymore?
Right.
So, first things that I do once I have service is I send them a message on LinkedIn and ask them to connect. But I'll say something personalized, like, I really enjoyed speaking with you on this flight back to Los Angeles, where we talked about whatever the topic was. May I add you to my network? And your goal is not to sell something through LinkedIn. Your goal is to build a connection and then create a second conversation or meeting.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many countless times I've done that when I met people at conferences. The very first thing I do is I say, "Are you on LinkedIn? Can I connect with you?" Because I want to remember that interaction that we had, 6 months down the road when we're connected. It's just like we're friends all of a sudden, right?
Absolutely. And I think putting the name with the face and having the contact information in there all at once it's a great tool for that. But for me personally, since I do meet a lot of people, it's great for me to be able to look back at my messages and see where I met them and what we talked about.
Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit more after you've connected with people. How do you continue to stay in touch with them? What's the best way to do that on LinkedIn?
That's a good question. I think if you're already publishing content, LinkedIn is a great place to have your audience look at that. Um, for example, if you're writing articles or you're sharing things on your website, there's no reason that those shouldn't also be shared on your personal and your business LinkedIn pages. This way, you can measure and see who's actually reading what you have to say, and kind of tailor what you are creating around what people are reading.
Right. And I know that LinkedIn has kind of this automated system where they'll tell people when their anniversary is or when they have a new job. And that kind of leads to some messaging back and forth. How do you use messaging on LinkedIn?
That's a good point, actually. Every time that somebody has a career change, like you mentioned, it'll pop up. And as financial planners and life insurance producers, we know that whenever there's a major life event or change, there's a reason to be in touch with those people.
Right.
So if you notice that somebody's recently retired, or if they changed and they became a C-suite executive, there's probably a planning opportunity. So it's a good time to reach out, and LinkedIn automatically notifies you of that.
Right. And I'll use us as kind of a case study. We had a mutual friend who connected us together. And I think the first thing we did was we connected on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Same time. We sent the request at the same time.
Right, and this person, and I know your office isn't even in the same city, but you live in the same city that I do.
Yeah,
So it kind of led to this conversation about, oh, we should get together and have lunch sometime, and we did. So
absolutely.
so an online relationship on social media can become an offline, in person, just like you're familiar with, in person lunches and things like that.
Yeah,
So any other tips that you want to share about using LinkedIn or social media that come to mind?
absolutely. I think, well, specifically LinkedIn, you definitely want to update your LinkedIn profile. If you're changing roles or positions, make sure that that's up to date. Have a good professional profile photo on there. Um, Not a selfie. That it should be a professional headshot. I would
Mhm.
recommend adding a cover photo if possible. You can purchase one of those online. Shutterstock.com has
Mhm.
good photos for that. And then put a little bit of information about who you are and the clients that you serve and the problems that you solve for clients. People often will just dive right into what the solutions that you offer, the service offerings, but take one step further back and identify what the problems are that your clients are suffering from, because that's how people relate to you.
Mhm.
So I would definitely recommend adding a summary, adding keywords that will help make you more searchable, um, and just adding a little bit of content under each career milestone.
Right. And I would add one more thing to it, which is make sure that your online persona matches your offline personality. So a lot of people think they have to be a different person on LinkedIn, but it's actually a big disadvantage to do that. You want people to know what to expect when they meet you by how you present yourself online.
Absolutely, 100% agree.
Well, Faresh, thanks for joining us. I hope to have you on future episodes as well. And thanks for sharing your wisdom about LinkedIn.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.